This episode of Thrillers and Killers is brought to you by Anchor.
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, it's totally free.
Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to the Thrillers and Killers podcast. Yeah, this week we got me, Brianna, Aaron, and Jacob.
Yo.
Hello.
We're doing an absolute fucking banger, Shutter Island.
I wonder how many times. We need to get a count of how many times you've said that, and you've actually
absolute banger. It's gonna be like
go with
2.
0.
If you haven't realized, I only say it when it's not a fucking banger.
You don't like Shutter Island?
All right, so we'll get into it later. How do you pronounce this motherfucker's name?
Martin
Leonardo
Scorsese.
DiCaprio.
Directed by Martin Scorsese. Based on Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane.
Wade.
Huh?
Dennis
He's fucking
Quaid.
around.
Dennis Quaid? Oh, Christ.
Uh,
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley, Michelle Williams, Emily Mortimer, Patricia Clarkson, Max von Sydow. I remember when he was hyped up for The Force Awakens and got waxed in the opening scene. Unlucky. Anyways.
If you like that sometimes. He's
He's
also in the original Dune. Fun. He's had a career.
Budget $80 million, box office $294.8 million. IMDb 8.2. All right. That's all I got. I'm not saying anything for the rest of the pod. You guys are up.
Yes.
Brianna, you made the rule last week. Your movie, your plot.
Okay, I just might need some help because it's a fucking lot, okay?
I think we're going to start with music.
No.
I'll handle this absolute banger. If you've listened to our pod on The Fourth Kind, this is literally the exact same plot. Except instead of mentally ill woman gets fucked up by aliens, it's mentally ill man is mentally ill. All right.
Okay. So this is based in 1954, and right away we're introduced to U.S. Marshal Edward Teddy Daniels and his partner Chuck, and they are on, what do we call it, a boat or a ferry, or probably a boat?
It's a ferry. No, it's a ferry.
I'd say
it's a ferry.
Okay, so they're on a ferry and they're headed to, well, we know it as Shutter Island, but it's basically like a mental institution, but for like criminals. So like, when people are found guilty, but they're like clinically insane, it's like one of those things, but it's just like off on an island. So they are there under the I'm trying to think of the word, precinct, or what am I trying to say?
The guys.
Yeah, I guess that's a better word. Sorry. So they are there under the guise that that's wrong. Sorry, hold on. They've been called. Yes, pretense. Thank you. They are there under the pretense of they're looking for a missing patient. And along the way, like they arrive and they can kind of tell that like the staff is kind of like standoffish and like, right away when they get there,
I'd even say more than standoffish, dude. They are like straight up dicks to these dudes.
Yeah, they're kind of rude and they're standoffish, and like they're not really doing a lot to help the marshals. Like right away, they take away their guns and They're just not doing a whole lot to really be helpful when they have a missing patient. Whatever. So while they're there, they kind of find different clues. They talk to like the staff, they talk to some of the patients, and he eventually reveals to Chuck that he took this job or wanted this job because he wants to find or talk to Andrew. How do you say it? Latest?
We mentioned the girl, right? Did I miss that? You mentioned that they're
Well,
looking for an escaped prisoner.
mention. Yeah, I didn't mention a name. Her name is Rachel. But yes, I
Yeah.
did mention that.
Rachel!
There is a part that's kind of funny. There's a part where he wakes up and he's like, Rachel, Rachel, and I was like, oh god,
Oh yeah.
just like Batman.
Also, sorry to backtrack a little bit. When they arrive, they're told that there's like 3 different facilities, and that Ward C, which is like off limits to them, I guess, is where they keep the most dangerous patients. So a bunch of stuff happens that's like just way too much to get into. Also, while this is going on, we're seeing like flashbacks to when he was in World War II. So we're getting some flashbacks and then like some dreams of him talking to his wife. Also, he's looking for Andrew Lattis because he says that he started the fire in their apartment complex or something that killed his wife. So, basically they end up in like,
They're in
There's a
C.
are they in?
there's a hurricane that hits while all this is happening, and that like fucks up the entire system. So they're able to get into the bad place, and that's when they meet the guy who tells him that he's the one
Yeah,
that
so
because he's all beat up, he's all fucked up. He
yeah,
says that
he's
Leo
like, what
did it.
happened to you? Yeah, and he's like, it's like you did this. And so also in it says that now he's gonna be taken to the lighthouse to get, I can't say this word.
Lobotomized.
Yes, lobotomized. Thank you. He's going to the lighthouse. He'll be taken to the lighthouse, be lobotomized, and then he also warns Teddy that everyone is basically playing this elaborate game designed around him. So like everybody's in on it, and like basically he's never leaving the island, and like he's in trouble. So he meets up with Chuck. Then he loses Chuck. He finds Rachel in like a cave. And she says that she's like a former psychiatrist and that they basically gave her meds and stuff and made her crazy. And now that's why she's a patient here. Which, sorry, to backtrack, they end up finding a Rachel or whatever, but he doesn't actually believe it's the real one or something. This is a horrible telling. I'm doing my best, guys.
Well, they whenever they meet the Rachel, he like asks her questions and it doesn't make sense, and he's like,
Yes.
this is not the right one.
Yes. So he finds like the real one in the cave, and she kind of warns him that basically he's screwed because they are never letting him leave the island. So at this point, he's also separated from his partner, Chuck. So he's convinced that Chuck has been taken to the lighthouse. So he goes there and he like busts open the door where like the doctor basically tells him that he is Andrew Lattis and he is their most dangerous patient. And he doesn't believe him at first, but basically they get him like to understand. So the reason why this Rachel girl was the most quote unquote the most dangerous is because she killed all 3 of her kids. So they basically explained to him that he is Andrew Lattis and Rachel is not real. Rachel is his wife who murdered their 3 children, and then he, Andrew Lattis, murdered her. And so they need him to have a breakthrough because he pretends to be this Teddy character and he becomes really violent. And like the reason he actually beat up that prisoner that we were talking about earlier is because he called him Andrew instead of Teddy. And so the migraines that he's having is a withdrawal from his symptoms, and they need him to like snap back to reality basically. And he eventually awakens and he's kind of well, I guess he like passes out or something, but he eventually awakens and it's kind of like, okay, I am Andrew Lattis. I'm here because I killed my wife. I made up this character because the thought of her killing my 3 kids is just too much for me to handle, and like basically says what they want to hear. And so the doctor is like, good, but also you had this breakthrough 9 months ago, so we need to make sure it sticks. And then the next day, him and Chuck are kind of like chilling on the steps, and he calls him Chuck, meaning he's like taken over this Teddy personality again. And so they basically, like, Chuck kind of shakes his head at the doctor, meaning like it didn't actually work. So he's going to be taken to the lighthouse.
I do think, though, an interesting line, but to me, the most interesting line in the movie is the last thing he says.
Yeah,
He
so
says,
you want to read it? Yeah, you say
yeah,
it.
I have it. He says, he asks him what's better, or what's worse, I guess, to
Yeah.
live as a monster or die as a good man. So I think it is implying that he knows the truth, and he is pretending now to not know so that he can just get killed.
Well, he's not gonna get. I don't think he's gonna get killed. Like the
Well,
lobotomy is just gonna make him brain dead, basically. Yeah.
I don't think that's. I don't think that's better.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, that was kind of like a sloppy telling of the plot, but I did my best, and there's a lot. Like there's just a lot in this plot. It like flashes back, and then we get to see which is really really sad to me, but we get to see the scene of him like coming home, and his wife is like soaked, and he's like, "Where are the kids?" And she's like, "They're at school." And he's like, "There's no school on Saturday." And then she's like, "There is at my school." And then I think he sees one of his kids floating, so he runs in the lake or wherever body of water, and then he realizes the other 2 are in there. And sorry, I forgot to mention this. Rachel, the like quote unquote patient they were looking for, the name is that was actually one of his daughter's name was Rachel.
Yeah, there's a lot to this movie. I almost think it's too much. You have
Yes.
you have you have the plot line, the regular one. You have flashbacks, dream sequences, which admittedly the dream sequences are pretty fucking cool, but it's a lot, and everything is just it's so much.
Yes. And like basically at the end it's kind of revealed like obviously there was no Rachel. It was just kind of a persona, and so like the Rachel that he found in the cave was just an hallucination, and his hallucinations are getting worse.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what all we're supposed to take as real and what we're supposed to take as him making shit up. Because like, a
Yeah.
lot of it obviously is fake, but then there's stuff like that where I'm like, I don't know. Did he do this? Kind of
I know
like, okay,
because all the like flashback scenes are from his perspective, and now like when the ending happens or you find out the twist, like now you're like, how much do we need to take with a grain of salt? Because like we
yeah,
can't.
you
It's
can't
one of those
trust him.
things. Yeah, you can't trust the narrator, and you know what I'm saying. So I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't think I had fun watching this movie.
Same.
It's heavy and
Yeah.
a lot happening,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah,
long.
I know. I'm sorry for picking the long movies. I remember watching this the first time I ever saw this. Well, I've actually only seen it one time, and it was in theaters. I was in 6th grade, and I went for my friend's birthday party. Which, thinking back on it, how like because it's rated R, and like what? Anyways, I just remember like the reason I picked this movie is because of the plot twist, which I thought was really fascinating. But I don't remember it being this long. And like now that like you watch it a second time or every other time you watch it, because you know the twist, it's just like, can we get there already, please? Like we don't need. I just feel like there was so much stuff in it that like could have been taken out and would have been just fine.
Also, I just don't think the twist holds up anymore. Like, yeah, it's only what 11 years, 12 years old now. It's just like we've seen it a bunch
Yeah.
of times. We know what this plot line is. This guy's actually, crazy. I don't know. And I figured, obviously, I kind of knew the plot line before this because it's a very popular movie. But even then, I figured stuff out the entire time that it wasn't as cool as I think it probably was when it first came out.
Yeah, I feel like I thought it was really cool when I was in 6th grade because I was in 6th grade, but now as an adult watching it, I was like, can we move it along? Or, kind of the same thing where
Yeah.
it's like, now that I don't know, now that I'm older and like smarter, I'd like to think, it was kind of like, duh.
His line at the end was really really cringe because I feel like they didn't set it up properly.
I don't know. I kind of
It was
liked Dawn at the end. It was
it
like
was really cringe.
What do you
I
mean it
think
was
it
cringe?
was
I think
it
it's
was
set up perfectly
interesting.
fine.
I think that was my favorite part. If we're being
Yeah,
completely
dude.
honest. I think I like that's
Oh
an idea
Jesus
that we
Christ!
that's an idea that we can mess around with a little bit more.
They imagine I made a movie for 2 hours of me smearing poop on the wall, and then at the end I was said the most inspirational quote ever. Would that be cool?
You don't think they earned it? Like you don't think they made the movie built up enough to earn the line? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see it.
Anyways, plausibility of the plot, fellas. I guess you would just have to say that it is plausible because the whole fucking movie's in his head pretty much anyway, so I mean,
Well, it's not all in his head. Like, I would say
He's
it's plausible in the fact that, like, remember this is based in 1954, and they did a lot of experimental stuff. So I think it's plausible that if they truly had a patient like that, that they would kind of like make this whole scene and see if they could get him to come to reality. Like, I definitely think that part is plausible because, I mean, experimental stuff and see what work. Like, there wasn't as many, like, probably safety laws and stuff like that for criminals, even like the mentally insane. So I would say
and
it's plausible.
for me, I'm wondering is his condition as plausible as it can? Like, I don't know how extreme what would this be
I mean,
dissociative disorder could get
well,
to. Go ahead.
trauma does crazy things, and we don't know
it
like how real it is.
it really doesn't matter. Like in the story's universe, his brain issue is real. So
Like, I see what you're saying, Aaron, but also at the same time, like, I mean, trauma does like crazy stuff to you.
Yeah, I'm fine with just leaving it at that. I'm curious to know if it is plausible in the real world, and if there are cases that have happened like this. Because this is
Yeah,
based off of what, a book?
yeah, it's based on it's based off a book.
Okay.
all right, fellas, does this movie have a good premise? Is this a banger premise movie?
It was
Probably was, yeah, in
when it first came
2010.
out.
Yeah, I feel like it is a good premise, and it could still be a good premise. They just didn't. It's just not that good.
Yeah. Like
See,
it could
I
still be a
don't
good
Good.
premise as long as they change up, the ending every once in a while, not just make it the same fucking shit.
I think I mean, I'm good with the premise. Like, obviously, that's why I wanted to go see the movie when I was little and everything. But, um, I mean, it was long. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely long. It's a long movie, but I don't think it's as bad as, or off. In my opinion, it's not as bad as Doug is saying it is. But Doug thinks every movie he doesn't pick is bad. So,
That's definitely not true.
I'm on the opposite spectrum for you guys since I think the movie itself is fine, and I think it's actually made decently well. My problem with it was, I mean, I was bored because the premise for me is boring now. Like I know this premise, I know the storyline, and I know from the beginning this is what's going on.
but if you would have
But
like, I get what you're saying. If you would have watched it though when like it first came out, would you have still thought the premise was boring and you would have been able to figure everything out? You think?
I don't know exactly what I would have thought, but it wouldn't have been as boring as it is now. There's just so many of these movies that are like this, that are the unreliable narrative, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That was the boring part to me, was the actual premise. The movie itself, I think, is actually kind of fun at some points, boring at others, but I don't think it's all bad.
I respect that.
Yeah, were you guys fucking entertained or no?
They go hand in hand with what I just said. I think I probably would have been in 2010. But I mean, it was just easy to figure out. And once I just just kind of like waiting for the next plot point to happen. Like, okay, yep, now he's gonna figure this out about himself, and then now they're gonna explain everything to him. Like, you know, I know the routine here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this motherfucker was boring as hell, bro.
Well, when I first watched it, I was entertained because I was in 6th grade. But this time around watching it, not so much because I knew what was happening, and I mean, it did kind of like give me a new perspective, like when I'm watching it in the beginning and seeing like how rude and like standoffish and like kind of jumpy the staff is, like knowing now when I'm watching it, because at first you watch it and you're like, oh, like what's wrong with them? Why are they like that? And then watching it a second time, knowing what I know, it's like a whole different perspective, like almost.
Now that you said that, it might actually be kind of interesting to watch this movie in the mindset of like these people are putting on a show for him.
Mm-hmm.
That actually might be kind of a more interesting movie.
This is the first movie we've watched for the podcast that I had to like fucking work. I felt like I was doing a goddamn job to watch this movie. It was really
And not the whole. I mean, like
painful.
I like parts of it when you're looking at it with the perspective, like when he's in the building C or whatever, and he's talking to that prisoner or whatever, and he's like, what happened to you? And he's like, you did this to me, it's your fault. Like at first when you watch it, you're like, what did Teddy do like to cause this? But then it turns out that like he's literally saying like, you beat me up, like you did this to me. So it's not like, again, not the whole movie because it's a long movie, but definitely like certain parts. And you can almost like when you're watching it with that mindset, you can almost see like the little glances that like the staff and stuff give each other. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I do. I'm interested to watch it. I don't really want to watch it again soon, but I am
No.
interested to watch it with that mindset. That's kind of fun.
I'm never watching this movie again.
Or like, sorry, last thing, and then we can move on unless anyone has anything else to add. Or like when he's talking to those to the patients or whatever, and he tells Chuck like they're coached, like their answers are all coached. It's true, they're all coached because they're all playing a role or playing a part or whatever. So
I do kind of like that. Well, we should probably agree on some themes first. What do we think they are?
everything is not as it seems.
This movie's a little muddy, I think, in themes.
Yeah.
Is it campy?
I mean, it definitely. I mean, I don't know if I want to say dark themes or I don't know. This movie is just really heavy when you're really.
All right, I'll just lay it down here. Mental illness, grief.
Definitely grief. That's actually probably the main one. Definitely grief.
And mental illness.
I think it's like, but the mental illness is caused from grief. Like this is
Well,
I can't believe my wife would do this, and she killed my kids, and now I'm sad. So now I'm like, I'm having this condition because of I'm grieving so hard.
The grief led to the psychotic break.
Okay, yes. Grief is, I think, the main one, but like also mental illness because the wife kills the kids and she doesn't necessarily have a reason other than like she's not right. Like,
yeah, I'm actually kind of interested to know more about the wife too. It's like the parts of this movie that I'm interested to know about are the parts that I don't get to see.
And then another one would be, and like this kind of a small, I guess maybe smaller one, or I don't know how y'all want to say it, but like truth, because they're trying like this whole time they're doing all this like basically act for Andrew to get him to realize the truth. So I don't know. I guess those would be the 3 big themes, maybe.
Yeah.
Grief being the main one. But
were these themes intriguing?
some of my favorite movies deal with grief. I think that grief can be a really impactful theme. So, yes, I guess I would say, but I don't know if
This
this movie
is
particularly didn't hit like some of the movies that I would consider grieving movies.
this is what I'm saying with the cringe ass final line. They didn't do it good enough. They didn't hit the themes right for the last line to be like, wow, that was cool. Instead I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cringe because the movie didn't.
Say cringe one more time.
This was campy. This was meta.
It's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know if we're. I guess I'll wait for the. Hold on. Sorry, we can move on until we get to characters. Sorry, you can cut that.
All right, moving on. How are the
Oh
characters?
my god. Were we done with that section?
Yes.
I sympathize with Andrew. Like, I feel bad for him because imagine like coming home and finding out your spouse has murdered your 3 kids. Like, how would you even react to that? Like, that's and the fact that he's like, they're like, you're the most dangerous criminal. Like, I understand he's become dangerous, but like they had to send him to a mental ward because of that. They couldn't just give him some time in prison or like work something out. Like, I don't understand.
I'm again, one of the things I'm interested in is to see how he ended up at the mental ward and like what was that like? How did he killed one person who killed his kids? How does that
Exactly.
equate? Now, I'm interested to know about that. We don't get to see it, obviously.
I know. And like, I get it. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Like, I'm not sure if I was in that same position if I would kill my spouse, but like, I don't know. Because it's almost like, I don't know if we. I feel like it could almost be self-defense because like she just killed his 3 kids. Like, how does he know that if he still plays along or whatever that she's not going to try to kill him? Because she's like, I don't want to say crazy, but she's not mentally there.
I'm no lawyer, but that seems not like it would hold up in court.
Far-fetched.
I just think because it's a male and a
I
woman.
agree. I agree.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm surprised that shit. Like, he must have had an alibi or some shit. Like, I know he was doing a job and then drove home. I'm surprised they were like,
Oh, what if that's why?
No, but they have it in his file in the movie that
that his wife
she
did it.
killed him. But like,
that should have been another part of this movie that happens. Is like, did
all
he kill his kids?
All the points of this movie that should happen to make it good, like, don't happen. I want to know why the wife goes fucking loony. I want to know.
Oh, that's
his backstory.
That's true because this is from his perspective. So, like, did he actually kill his 3 kids? I think he didn't. I think he didn't. But like, they kind of leave it open.
About it, dude. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, the shit that I want to happen just refuses to fucking happen. I'm kind of getting pissed.
All right, hey, I don't think we've talked any about the fucking characters for some reason.
I talked about we literally have talked about Andrew.
How do we feel about Mark Ruffalo's bitch ass?
I mean, he's just a side character in my opinion. Aaron or Jacob?
The fuck is wrong with Mark Ruffalo, dude?
We're not going to go into it on the pod.
Okay, we'll go into it later.
I'm not the biggest Mark Ruffalo fan, but this, I think he's just a basic side character. I do kind of like, I kind of like the character he's playing. Whenever he's the partner, it's kind of funny. He's a weird comedic relief to me. I found myself laughing at things that I didn't know were supposed to be funny or not, which is not a good thing. But that was kind of the most fun part of the movies.
All right, and then we got a doctor guy. All right, that's how great character doctor guy is. Fucking say about it.
There's lots of characters, and you know, like especially there's a lot of like side characters, but ultimately the biggest character is Andrew Latis. So like, they're just kind of all around him. So like, they were fine. I don't have a lot to say about them. I feel like, you know.
I think. Yeah, for me, I feel like the movie could have done a better job of actually drawing attachment to Andrew.
Yeah, true.
And also, I'm kind of interested in his wife a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more of her than just her killing her kids. That's fun.
And he gets shot. Yeah.
Shutter Island too. coming in 2023.
The prequel.
All right, hear me out. They should have made this movie about a man who used to work on Wall Street.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm
Does
listening.
anyone have anything else to say about the characters? So we
No,
can
I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
Yeah, he used to work on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Continue.
Let me guess. He smuggled a bunch of stock money.
All right.
I have a name for him. You ready? Jordan.
Oh shit!
All right.
All
Hey,
right.
what's next?
And they can cast Jonah Hill in the movie too.
Ooh.
And we
I
can
know
see
it's-
Margot Robbie's boobs.
It's kind of
Yes.
out of left. It's kind of out of left field, but it's just an idea. Take it or leave it.
We make this movie and we go door to door to everyone's house until they either buy or fucking die. All right.
Let's move on.
How is the acting in this motherfucker?
I think the acting's actually kind of fine. Leo's Leo, dude. Yeah, he's always gonna do his thing.
It's really hard for
Buffalo's
Leonardo
actually fine.
DiCaprio to put down a bad performance. Ben Kingsley's Ben Kingsley. He fucking knocked shit out of the park too.
Michelle Williams is a little for me, but she always is.
Yeah, I'm not a
Even in
huge Michelle
Venom,
Williams
dude. Like she's kind of just like she reminds me of Rosamund Pike.
Oh no!
fan.
Oh no!
And everything she
Michelle
just
Williams
seems so
more.
bland.
Not
Yeah,
this
true.
again.
She has no real feeling behind anything.
Okay. Well, hey, the performance was a-okay from the actors in this one. Says
You
us.
liked it?
Oh, I was just saying what you guys said. I wasn't gonna fucking.
What do you think?
All right, I guess I'll just go in. Leo was all right, and then everybody else was all right. Moving on.
Well, hold on. I definitely think the side, even though we didn't have a lot to say about the side characters, like the staff that we don't know the name of or whatever, I think they did a pretty good performance of when you first watch the movie that you're like, oh, these people are just rude and assholes. But now watching it again, they're just on edge because they got a patient that's off the hinges.
Dangerous.
Bro,
So, I
whoever
mean,
plays the prisoner in Ward C is terrifying. The guy who's running
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, is it the best performances I've ever seen? No, but I mean, it's better. It's better than just okay, I guess.
Leo's always better than okay.
Oh yeah, Leo. I mean, I meant the side characters. Leo was good. I liked his.
They should have
performance.
saved themselves money because literally anybody could have played Mark Ruffalo's character.
You know what? I agree. Well, I wonder how much.
I agree
This
with
is
that, too.
pre-Marvel. This is pre-Marvel, so right? 2010 is before
yes,
he's
it is.
in. So he's
Yes, it
probably
is.
not that expensive yet.
That's true. All right. If no one else has anything to add, we can move on to dialogue.
Hey, how was the dialogue in this motherfucker? The storytelling. Did the characters?
What the fuck was that?
Did the characters tell the story with the dialogue effectively?
No. The dialogue's one of the most confusing parts of this movie because it's just there's just parts of this movie where one person's trying to explain something to the other person and Andrew Latis refuses to accept that it's happening, and so everything is just what the fuck is going on here? We have two people just saying completely different things.
Also, sorry, this is kind of backtracking, but it kind of goes with the storytelling. I feel like they have too many characters we're supposed to try to be keeping up with, and it makes the storytelling very confusing. They have the pretend nurse Rachel, Rachel, isn't it, right?
Rachel! They
have the pretend nurse that is playing the found Rachel or whatever, and then they have the hallucination Rachel that it just is too much. You know what I'm saying?
Warden.
You almost have to be taking notes to be okay, who's this character? What's their backstory? Okay, got it. Because it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm
Also,
but it's confusing.
what's the weird Nazi subplot going on here? Where
Because it's based in 1954.
I mean, I get it, but what is going on there?
It does seem a bit extreme. I would maybe understand it if the movie came out closer to after World War II, but I mean, it came out in 2010. I agree. I get it because it's of the time, and I guess maybe back in that day, that's how like Americans felt about Germany and stuff, obviously. So like I kind of get it in that sense, but to make it like as big as they did in the movie in 2010 just feels like a lot. Like it just feels like
Weird.
it adds another thing that we just don't need. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a lot. It just didn't make any fucking sense.
That's the problem I have with it too. Is like, why is it even?
Like they could make a movie with the Nazi subplot that, like, okay, hear me out. So we got a guy who used to work on Wall Street. I think Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey would definitely both be in it.
For me, they're trying to tell too many stories.
What were we even talking about?
The storytelling.
I already answered that. Who's next?
I think we can
Okay.
move on to Jacob. You got anything to say about the storytelling, Chief?
Nope.
All right.
Never.
All right, Jacob, start with context.
How was
Context.
the context of the dialogue? Did it make sense?
Well, when you watch it the first time, no, not really. Mark Ruffalo's character and them saying like one thing, and then you have the patients and the doctors kind of saying other stuff, so it kind of fucks with you. But once you realize it tends to make fucking sense. I guess I wasn't really paying attention to the context in that kind of sense.
Well,
My
I guess
bad.
it's just another way to think about it, I guess.
Okay.
So do you feel like it was or
Yeah.
I think the World War II shit's kind of weird. But I guess it is of the context of, you're right, like that. I guess that would be how some people would feel about Germany and Nazism in general. So it's like, I mean, they probably would have talked like that.
You see any German person? You ever seen a fucking concentration camp,
And that's pretty
motherfucker?
much that's what, yeah, that's exactly what like Leonardo DiCaprio is treating this guy who's German like. Like, he's just a dude chilling as a German at this place, and he's like, "So you're fucking German, huh?" He's like,
But that's
yeah."
that's how they thought back then.
Thank
Like
God he
I'm
didn't
saying.
get sent to investigate NASA. Let's just put it that way.
See, that's what I'm saying.
even
Like,
though even though not all people in Germany, participated in the Holocaust or whatever, like when something big like that happens, like especially back then, I feel like more now we're kind of a little bit more I don't know if I want to say tolerant, but like we don't necessarily associate everybody with like every,
oh,
like
for sure.
country or whatever with that. So I mean, I feel like it's accurate in the sense of like back then everyone was like, F Germany basically. If you were German, like even if you didn't um mainly participate in it, you somehow indirectly participated in it by not stopping it or whatever. So like that's how they really felt back then.
Sure, and that's fine. I just think it's fucking weird to put in your movie. Like, we
Well,
don't.
especially because they don't do a lot. Like it'd be one thing if they were showing it, and then like the big twist was something that had to do with it being German or like them starting another Holocaust or whatever. Like that would make a little bit more sense.
I
But
just feel like they
like
did it so they could have the war as a fake excuse for Leo being crazy. Like, oh, we can just say he's just a dude who went to war and now he's like nuts and he killed his wife or whatever. He started the fire. Like,
I feel
I,
like, hey, I'm just spitballing here because I haven't actually read the novel the movie was based on, but I feel like there's like more shit in the novel and they like half-ass adapted it and it just looks stupid.
it's possible for sure. Yeah, like, yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I feel like we don't need to talk about this anymore, so I'm just moving it straight on to cinematography. And I'm just gonna, I don't know why, but this one scene at the beginning of the movie, so they have a shot where it's like, I think it's like two characters and then one other character. And they like,
So 3 characters.
yeah, but the camera's on the two characters, and then it like scrolls to the right to pick up the one character as he's like leaving, and then as he leaves it like goes back to the two characters. It was weird. I was like, just fucking cut it. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably not
do.
making any sense.
So, did you like it or did you not?
I did. I
He did not.
wasn't a fan.
Not a fan.
I was like, just fucking cut it instead of moving the goddamn camera. It kind of looks weird. I don't understand why you're trying so hard for like this insignificant scene.
I don't remember that scene specifically, but there is a lot of really good camera work in this movie. There's a rotating camera when Mark Ruffalo is like spinning around him. That's really cool. The dream sequences are probably my favorite shot. They move a lot, but it's not like gross movement. It's like a really nice, smooth, cool movement going along with like how the dream sequence is running. And even like the characters, when they're interviewing the woman, and they're doing like a really slow push in on her. That I just think the camera work is actually fantastic. If we're talking like if we're going just camera stuff, I don't know about that scene you're talking about, Doug. And there was definitely scenes where it lingered too long, and it was like, okay, yeah, I'm good, I got it. I don't need you to sit here and tape this anymore. But like,
Just
there,
that one scene I noticed triggered me.
yeah, I noticed
The
a
rest
couple.
of it was fun.
I noticed a couple of scenes that I was like, okay, we're good, got it. But there was definitely like really cool camera stuff going on here, and that's just Martin Scorsese. Like, that dude's just a god with the camera work stuff on his movies.
Jacob?
I agree with Aaron most of the part.
Brianna?
'Cause-
Sorry, I definitely just cut Jacob off.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Oh, I feel like I say this every week, so maybe next week
I
I
don't
will
pay
say
good
this.
attention to camera.
Well, I do. No, I do pay attention to it. I feel like I haven't seen enough like movies that have bad camera work. You know what I'm saying? To like base it off of. So like when I'm watching, like especially this
Cloverfield.
movie. Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh
That
my
does trigger
God.
me. So I like the camera work. I can't go into as much details like Aaron did, but I liked it. I thought the shots were really cool. I really like the shots when they're on the cliff or whatever. I thought they did a good job of like doing that, and then kind of thinking back to like what Aaron was saying, like how sometimes it kind of like rotates and stuff, and yeah, like I mean, I didn't watch it and was like, I hate the camera work. It ruined it for me. So yeah,
How did you feel about the lighting, setting, and wardrobe?
to kind of go more, I guess. I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about because you said the camera work. So I don't know if this might be the same category,
How did
but
you feel about the lighting, setting,
the
and wardrobe?
dream scenes, like I really like how they have the like burnt paper or whatever it is kind of in the background, and like they have those like subtle things
Dude,
in it.
that shit was fucking. It looked like Zack Snyder without being fucking dark filtered. Changed my mind.
But I like the lighting. Like, I mean, I almost like how it just doesn't stay in one light, if that makes sense. Like, there are some scenes where it's really dark. There's some scenes where it's really light. Like, and this, this is supposed to be like a thriller / horror movie, and so I think the lighting kind of portrays that. And then the wardrobe. I almost forgot that it was based in 1954 because I was like, why are the nurses there wearing that? Like, who would actually wear that nowadays? And then I had to remember, like, oh, yeah, it's based in 1954 and they would actually wear that. So, yeah, I thought they checked all the boxes. And then, obviously, the island. I thought the island was really pretty. So I thought the setting was good. I don't know where they actually filmed it, obviously. I don't think there's a real Shutter Island, but wherever they filmed it, I feel like it was a good location.
Yeah, I think it's a good looking movie.
Yeah,
It's a good looking movie. Jacob, you can go ahead.
that's really about it. I like the whole wardrobes and stuff that they use is very, 50s and shit like that. And I did like the lighting of like when it was supposed to be dark and ominous, it was very dark, and then like the other times it was very like light at the beginning of the movie and stuff like that.
All right, fellas. How was the pace and tone of this one? Aaron?
Pacing's slow, and it's a slow movie. Even to the end, it's so slow, and it's like long, and I don't want it to be. It's I was checking the clock. I was like, oh my god, like let's get to the point where he learns everything about himself. I know that's happening. I just want to get there.
They should have done that shit like halfway through the movie. and then like made some like cool other shit around it.
Yes, I think if this movie gets made today, after we know all this plotline, that shit probably does happen. If not middle in the movie, it probably happens early in the movie, and then we get to learn more about like the deeper shit, like why she killed him. I think that would be a better movie. So I agree. The tonal stuff, though, I wish they would have leaned a little bit more horror. There is like for me my favorite, yeah, like get scarier, get darker.
Oh,
My
you said horror. Got it.
yeah, horror.
Yeah, horror.
HORROR.
Yeah.
Oh, we can go some WHORE if we want.
Whoa!
Anyway.
Whoa!
So for me, my favorite parts were in Ward C when we got that like crazy looking dude running around in the dark. He's jumping out of places. We're lighting stuff with a match. That stuff's fun. I want more of that stuff. We're going to Shutter Island. Shutter Island sounds like a badass place. I want to see scary Shutter Island.
Yeah, they should have made this. Would be a banger horror movie.
This would be a banger A24 movie.
Oh no!
Show me like a fucked version of Shutter Island. I'm in.
Please God.
Oh.
And then you put Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson on the lighthouse.
Oh, dude.
And we just make the lighthouse.
I made that joke in the movie. I was like, they're gonna go in there and it's gonna be the lighthouse, like the movie.
I wish.
Dude,
Better
just
movie.
like if A24 did this movie, it would be like the first half would be the whole Leo stuff, and then after that, he just goes on a full psychotic break, and then it switches to Mark Ruffalo being the main character, being hunted down by Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm down. Let's do scary shit. So,
Mark Ruffalo's character is getting killed.
At the end, yeah, sure, why not?
Sign me up.
I don't hate the rest of the tone stuff. I mean, it's eerie. The atmosphere is really good the entire time. The dream sequences comes to my mind as actually pretty cool. The fire when he's in the house is pretty fucking cool. Effects, like there's not a ton, but they're cool.
Yeah.
They blow up that car or whatever, or he blows up that car.
They do blow up that car.
Yeah. Some lovely pyrotechnics in there.
I wonder if they actually blew the fucking car up, or if it was.
Bro, I thought the car scene was. This is kind of off topic, but I thought the car blowing up scene was gonna be like him letting go of his wife or whatever. Like when the car blows up, it's gonna like.
Man, probably should have been because
I thought that
she's there,
and it blew up, and then she was still fucking there. I was like, hey, this movie's ass.
That you know what? That's a better use of the blowing up the car.
I'm not just saying this now. I said this while we were watching it. True or false?
That's true. That's true.
Any other comments on the effects, fellas? There's a cool car blow up,
and then the dream sequences.
I guess the hurricane looks weird at some points when they're walking outside. It looks like that's like 900 mile per hour winds. Shit is just flying around.
I guess back then they couldn't really predict hurricanes like they can now.
Also,
right?
Yeah.
You cut that. If that sounds dumb, cut that.
No, that's true. The scene, like, I know it's like him imagining him shooting the doctor or whatever, but it looked kind of fucking weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that part when he pulls the gun out and like fake shoots him, and he like the bullets go through him, but they don't. He doesn't move, so it's just like blood splatter.
Yeah, there's fake blood.
Like I almost think it would have been better to like make it look like it was real, and then have him like snap back, and then be like,
"Yes,
see, it's not real," or whatever. You know,
give me $80 million, and I'll get fucking loose on this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Give me like. They spent a bunch of money. A lot of that had to have been Leonardo DiCaprio, though. I don't even need
it. What the fuck did they spend it on?
Somebody just give me 80 million. I'm not even gonna make a movie. Just give me 80 million.
I'll make a movie, but I'm gonna hire A24 to do it, and they'll do some $80 million for A24. That movie's gonna be fucking crazy.
Give me 80 million, I'll make a movie for 1 million. I'll keep the extra 79.
But no, I think that most of the production costs went to actually like the places they filmed in. They filmed in a lot of places in Massachusetts, but like the hospital they filmed in, they had to shut down and move people around to film in it. Like
Well,
that, and
dude,
they
just
also
fucking get a
filmed.
set.
I guess they wanted to go fucking. Martin Scorsese goes fucking hard, bro.
How much
He
did
had
that
a,
shit fucking cost?
I don't know, but he had to rent out a fucking
79
island.
million.
He had to rent out an island to film some of the fucking scenes.
I'm sorry, it's not worth it. This movie is not worth that.
Good lord.
I'm
All right,
sorry,
how is the music, fellas? How is the music?
Martin. Is there even a score in this movie, or is it just it's all the songs that already exist that they needle drop in, right? Like a lot of these songs are just are actually just songs.
Yeah, it does not have an original score. Instead, Scorsese's longtime friend Robbie Robertson, just recorded a bunch of material from the past and
I
shit.
mean,
like
it's just music that kind of like builds up the anticipation, I guess.
I remember in the beginning of the movie, I was like, "Oh, it's kind of a cool little jingle."
Yeah, but it's sorry. Call me a whatever you want. I'm a sucker for an original score. So that's a bummer for me. I'd like to see some original music.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like, if it's fine in the movie, then it's
Sure, it's fine.
It's not bad. Just 'cause- like
No.
for example, in the Scooby Doo movie, they didn't make
That's fire, bro.
They didn't make an original score, but that shit is lit.
I also want to point out that the Scooby Doo movie didn't cost $80 million to make. So
Oh shit.
Well, it also didn't have Leonardo DiCaprio in it. So.
that's what the score budget went. Leo took the score budget.
Exactly.
All right.
I thought the music was good. Like, I know it's not original, but I don't feel like when I watched it, I was like, well, that seems like random music or whatever. Like it followed I think what they wanted it to be.
Sound authenticity were the sounds banging?
I do think the scarier part in Ward C has some cool fucking sounds in it when this dude's fucking running around barefoot and stuff. So that's all fun. That's what I'm saying. This for me, the best parts of the movie is when it gets like kind of scary. I want more of that.
Okay. So anybody got it? You know what? Fuck it.
Oh my
What are you
god.
saying, Doug?
How is the director's vision?
Oh boy.
Pause. This is off topic. We'll come back to the vision. The budget for the Scooby Doo movie was $84 million.
Oh my god.
You're fucking with me.
Oh, I'm not.
Wait, it cost more to make the Scooby Doo movie than it did Shutter Island?
Yeah.
I'm done. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go.
Holy shit.
That's hilarious, honestly.
It's I look up Scooby Doo 2002.
This can't be
Scooby
real.
with a dash and then do.
84 million for that piece of shit? What did they spend? What did they spend it on?
Probably the effects for Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
Now I think about it.
The visual
It was
effects for
2002.
Scooby-Doo and also
It was that fart scene.
I don't know.
I guess I will. I'm sorry, Scooby Doo. I underestimated your budget. So
Yeah, don't talk shit. They weren't gonna fuck around with little dick money on Scooby Doo, bro. All right. So I think the director's vision just kind of fucked. I don't understand what's going on in this movie.
I mean, I get it. I just don't like it. I just don't like the formula we're following.
Yeah.
I like the vision. I just don't. I'm kind of getting into the next cat real quick because it goes together. I like the vision. I don't think it was executed great. Like I think it could have been better.
Yeah, it's probably how I would say it as well.
I just want more like more weird stuff to differentiate it from other movies that are like this.
Yeah. Like
And the dream sequences kind of get there, but it's not as good.
Yeah, and you're following a mentally fucking ill patient. Like, go deeper into that and stuff, and like, I don't know, make it more
And his
twisted
wife's
mentally.
obviously mentally disturbed. Let's
Yep.
get some of that. Instead, we get a what is it? A Holocaust scene where they shoot a bunch of people lined up in a line, and we also get a long ass scene of them going through papers.
Uh-huh. And honestly, I want more of an attachment to the kids. Like, give me some backstory on the kids, So whenever you see that they're dead, like, kind of like, oh shit, that
Yeah,
kind of
also
sucks.
he's only having visions or dreams of just one of his kids. Like he had 2 other kids.
That was his fave.
So, like, F you to the other 2. But we don't really. I don't
Yeah.
really care about you. I only
The
care about
sons,
Rachel. Like
yeah, the sons
that
didn't mean shit.
seems like a bit harsh.
Yeah, the sons didn't mean shit.
All right. Well, was this movie one of a kind? No. Was it above and beyond? No. All right. Let's wrap up the pod.
I mean,
Unless somebody has something to say. God help
At the
me.
time of the release, I would say
You
it's kind of one of
motherfuckers
a
always
kind,
have
but
something to say.
What,
that's the
Jacob?
point of the podcast.
at I guess the release of this film, it was kind of one of a kind, and was had a lot of pizzazz, but it's almost 12
I
years old
can't
now.
name
So
them right now off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure this was a been there, done that, even when this movie first came out.
I thought this movie was older. I'm not gonna lie.
Somebody help me with the fucking titles of this concept that came out before this shit.
I mean, we've already covered this on the podcast, and it's not the exact same plot, but Memento is kind of, I mean, like where we have an unreliable narrator. Like that's kind of what this is, part of it. So I mean, that's kind of, it's not all the same, but it's similar, maybe. Or I'm just dumb. I don't know.
No, I think it's definitely similar. That's the same vein, but there even then there's still movies I don't. Again, I'm like Doug. I don't know off the top of my head, but there were movies I'm sure before 2010 that followed this. A Psycho. Psycho followed this thing of we have this guy that it's his perspective, and he's obviously going through some stuff mentally, and we don't know till the end that he's the killer.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's been around for a while.
I agree. I definitely feel like, again, I like y'all. I can't, other than like Memento, just because we just did that not too long ago. I don't feel like it's one of a kind in that, like, we've seen older and other movies even before 2010 or whatever year this came out, where we have characters who are mentally ill and we're following them, and it turns out like what we're seeing is not actually true. So one of a kind, no.
Beyond, also, no.
That's a hard
If
no.
you got into this like the stuff we've been talking about, then I think you could get there. That's what's so frustrating about this movie is like it's so bland and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, they could have made it a banger for sure.
I almost feel like Martin Scorsese was just like, yeah, I know this movie's like done, and I know it's just kind of like the same formula, but I'm Martin Scorsese, so I can make it better just by being me. And it's like, it's not.
I feel like in 6th grade when I saw this, I was like, whoa, mind blown. But now I'm like, no. Like, I guess I just didn't really watch a lot of these kind of movies when I was younger. So, like, to me, at that time, I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is crazy. I didn't expect that. But, like, if I went to go see it now, like, if it came out, this exact same movie came out now and I was, like, going to see it, I'd be like, kind of how you were saying in the beginning, like, this is super predictable. Can we just get to the point, please? So, also for me, no, not above and beyond.
Wait, I didn't realize he directed Wolf of Wall Street too. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, fellas, let's just bring it on into the tier ranking. Brianna, you go first.
All right. I am going to give this movie I'm trying to decide. Sorry. It's going to be in the C category.
It's more of a tier than a category.
Sorry, a tier. Probably a C- for me. I think for me it's a C- because I like the premise. I think it's a good premise. But with the movie being so long and how it kind of just like drags, and that, like we've talked about, that it has components in it that it doesn't need, and it's missing components that we want. And so I feel like it could have been shorter, and if they would have put in some of those components that we want, would have made it better. So I don't know, maybe in the right hands it could have been better, but I like the premise, but it definitely is not as good of a movie as I thought when I first saw it. So it's a C- for me.
All right, Jacob.
I'm also going to give this movie a C minus.
Oh fuck. We can't all put C minus, bro.
I think it's going to happen. Oh,
Aaron's like A minus.
Like I said, like Bree said, that yeah, this movie's like, it was good when it, I guess, first came out, but it's lost its luster, and like he could have done so much more with this movie to make it so much better, but kind of just, it was like, it's kind of just the same shit. It fits the formula, have good actors. There you go.
Real quick to Bill and Jacobs. It's almost like a Marvel movie these days. Like it's this Marvel formula, get the actors, get the movie going, and then that's it. And I don't like it. I don't want to follow a formula. And I'll roll this straight into my tier. I'm also gonna go C, but I'm gonna go C, like neutral. I don't
Just
think
a
it's a
C.
C minus. I know we've been shitting on this movie a lot. It's still a competent movie, and it's still made decently well. I mean, movie aspects. Looking at it as somebody, technically speaking, it is good. Martin Scorsese's good. The acting's good. All that stuff is good. There's nothing in this movie that's like bad. It's just like we said it 100 times. I'll beat it in. You got to do something cooler. You got to do something that's more pizzazzy to win me over, and it doesn't do that. It's just bland, and it's weird that it's bland with such a premise that you could delve into so much,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes me sad.
Well, it's all up to me.
It's all up to you.
Ooh, I really don't fucking like this movie. Oh shit. I guess I'll put it in C minus as well. This movie is just boring. It doesn't hit, and I think the worst part of it is like I think this movie has a lot of potential, and it just didn't get there. So we're gonna drop it in C minus.
You have a way with words. You have a silver tongue, my friend.
All right, so fellas, subscribe to us on Pornhub.
Hey, so somebody get a count on how many times Doug says fellas.
All right, well, sorry, so let's count
Take
it.
a shot every time Doug says fellas.
You were screaming at us for campy. You say fellas every other word.
Fellas.
No, yeah, that'll wrap it up. Jacob, what is next week?
So next week on the schedule is Split, starring James McAvoy.
Okay, you heard it here. Brandon, you won't be with us next week?
Yes, I will be out of town. If we watch it, if Doug and I watch it this weekend, I'll try to leave him some notes to add in for me, but I have a feeling he'll be
Okay.
watching it Tuesday. And I won't be here, so yeah, I won't be on it. Sorry, guys. For those that'll miss me, and for those who won't, congratulations.
Okay, yeah, another plug. Doug and I have another podcast called The Stream Bros. Check it out. We're covering TV shows. First up is Peaky Blinders. We've done a couple episodes, so that comes out Tuesday and Wednesday. So you can get 3 days in a row of Doug and me arguing. I know how much you guys want to hear that. But this
Just wait
podcast,
for our next podcast about politics.
For this podcast, that you can find us on Twitter at ThrillKillPod, and just throw it out there. All of these sites you get your podcasts on have rating features. Drop us 5 stars if you like us. And that's it. See you guys later.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.